Hello everyone and welcome back to Steins Gate Zero. I'm G and we have recently returned to the present from the future and have reawoken HOUOUIN KYOUMA. So, without any further ado, let's get started. Can you all just give me a minute? Okay. I left my area in Ryuko behind and went to Akihabara Bridge. If I made contact with Amadeus, she'd know where I was. That's why I'd chosen this place. This was the first place I'd let Kurisu see how weak I was, back when everything seemed at its darkest. An advertising van passed by, blaring jaunty opera music at a loud volume that clashed horribly with its flashy paint job. I waited for it to get out of earshot before I tapped the Amadeus icon. She showed herself immediately. It's been a long time. That's right. I thought you'd forgotten me. I hadn't forgotten. I could never forget. I've been busy. How many goodbyes has I said now? I'd said goodbye to her again and again. But I'd never gotten used to it. So, what is it today? There was something I wanted to ask you. What? You want to know if you can make a time machine again? That was a joke. Keep going. Just hypothetically, if you could give up your life to save a friend's, would you do it? I'm not sure I understand what you're getting at. Answer me, please. She must have been able to tell from my words and expression that I was serious, because she took on a serious expression as well. That friend's someone important to you, isn't it? Yeah. There are still many things I want to do, many things I have to do, but... even so, if I could make that friend and the people around me happy, maybe I would. Kurisu. Sorry, I've never had that happen to me, so all I can do is imagine, which means I can't give you a real answer, but... if there was still one person who would remember me, if there was still one person who wouldn't forget... Anyway, forget about me. Forget about what happened today and everything that came before. That's what I want. I can't forget. Huh? Never. I will never forget. This was a vow. A vow to get me through the time to come. Okabe? Sorry for asking something so silly. No, I don't mind. Did something happen? No, it's nothing. Nothing. Anyway, bye. Wait! Huh? Oh no. It just felt like I was never going to see you again. Kurisu. That's not true. Of course, right? I don't know where I got that idea. We'll see each other again. I promise. Yeah. That's right. This wasn't goodbye forever. I'd see her again. So I won't say goodbye. Not until I see you again. See you again. Yeah, see you again. Kurisu. I've got no idea how long it will take. But I'm going to reach you. I promise. I went back to my area in Ryuko and gave them the phone. Did you say your goodbyes? Yeah. I'm counting on you guys. Yep. I watched them disappear into the crowded station and went back to the lab. The van was still playing its loud music as it drove down the street. 5 hours had passed since the operation had begun. The only sound in the room was of Daru's fingers on the keys. How's it going, Daru? It doesn't look like they found us. Is it going to take a lot more time? At least 3 hours. I guess it wasn't going to be easy after all. Daru must have been exhausted, but he was still working. Mayuri and the others were sending me regular messages. Mayuri had paired off with Ryuko, and Ferris with Suzuha. Since they knew each other so well, they were doing a great job of working together and running around Tokyo. Suzuha had told me that she'd seen shady-looking people several times, and Moeka had sent me a message saying that they'd taken the bait. For now, the operation was succeeding without anyone getting hurt. But I didn't expect it to last forever. I wanted to get Kurisu's memory data deleted as fast as possible, but in the end, my only choice was to rely on Daru. Sorry about this, Daru.
You promised not to say that, buddy.
I remembered how he looked 25 years in the future. Even in that far distant future, he was still my friend.
Ocarine, can I have a second?
Until a little bit ago, Maho had been resting to recover from her exhaustion, but at some point she must have gotten up. What is it?
Look at this.
She handed me a stack of papers. It was a printout of Stratford's report. She must have been looking at it after she'd woken up. What's this?
A list of Stratford's experimental test subjects.
There were rows of names, sexes, and ages, and other information.
Look here.
She pointed her small finger at one of the names. It said, Shin Akagari. Shin Akagari?
He was one of Stratford's guinea pigs.
Of course, I'd known it was a possibility. That's why they'd been looking for her. And she had Kurisu's memories, too. But still, it was one thing to suspect it, another to see proof.
But they never made it to the last phase of the experiments, it looks like. He says she ran away just before they got the chance.
That made me feel a lot better. If Kagari still had Kurisu's memories, I would have seen a repeat of what happened in the last world line. This must be another effect of the world line change. But there was still no doubt that she had been in Stratford's hands for years. And she'd been the subject of many experiments during that time.
I'm a little worried.
Maho must have been thinking the same thing I was. Kagari was alone with Yuki at Daru's hideout right now.
Who's calling me now? I'm busy.
The ringing that suddenly interrupted our conversation was coming from Daru's phone.
Tamanishi. I wonder what's up.
I had a bad feeling.
Yes? Hello? Tamanishi, what is it? Did something happen? Huh? Kagari-tan was what?
What happened to Kagari?
She says she's gone.
What? I grabbed the phone out of his hands and put it up to my ear. It's me, Okabe. Is Kagari really gone?
Okabe, I'm sorry. I was right next to her.
What happened? Did she get kidnapped?
No, Kagari left on her own. I tried my best to stop her, but she was so strong.
On her own? What's going on? Was Yuki really... No, that was impossible. If Yuki was working for Stratford, she wouldn't be calling me. Then why had Kagari run off on her own?
Can you put it on speaker? I want to hear this too.
I hit the button to switch the call to speakerphone.
Yuki, tell me more about what happened before Kagari ran off. Was there anything strange? No, we were just talking. Did you see or hear anything strange? No. Oh wait, come to think of it, I did hear some weird music from outside. It was like some kind of jingle from an advertising van. I remember it because it was really loud.
An advertising van? Was it the one I'd seen this afternoon?
That's it. I just read about it in that file. It was one of the experiments Stratford did. The experiment involved brainwashing.
Brainwashing? Brainwashing?
I think she might have been brainwashed to behave in a certain manner if she heard a pre-programmed source of music. That's the only way to explain why she'd run off on her own right now.
The song the van was playing. It was K6205. The magic flute sent to lead Kagari astray.
The file also said that she was an ideal candidate for the experiments and that they were still looking for her.
Damn it! They probably had vans like that all over Japan, not just Akihabara. And she'd fallen right into their trap.
What do we do, Ocarine?
It was obviously Stratford that had gone after Kagari. Which meant that all we could do was... And then there was another call. This time... Fuck off. This time it was to my phone. I had Ferris prepare several cell phones for my use in this operation. One to use to call everyone, one to give to Kagari. And... the call was coming from the phone I'd given to Kagari. It probably wasn't from her, though. Who could it be? Rintaro Okabe. Correct. The digitally altered voice made the caller seem even more eerie. Yeah, that's right. Who are you? We have Kagari Shina. I don't need to tell you what we want, do I? Here's his laptop and hard drive. Give me time to think. Think? Think about what? The exchange will take place tomorrow. We'll tell you where and how later. They hung up. They want to swap her for Kurisu's computer and hard drive.
So, what's the plan?
Can't believe the Kagari was brainwashed.
Suzuha was gritting her teeth in frustration as she listened to us. I had her come back immediately after the call. And I brought Mocha Kiryu to the lab as well. I want your honest opinion. If we do what they want, will they give us back Kagari?
No.
Mocha gave her honest opinion.
I agree. They're willing to use dirty tricks like brainwashing. If they don't need her, they'll just kill her. They might kill you too.
The only reason they would have called me specifically is that they knew I had information they wanted to keep hidden. After what I'd gone through already, I could safely assume they'd show no mercy. And they were after what Kurisu had left behind. Her memories and her belongings. I didn't want them causing any more wars. Which meant there was only one thing I could do. We'll have to bust in and take back Kagari. It was dangerous, but it was the only way. Mayuri and the others were still out there fighting. Which meant they should still think I was running around the city.
Bust in? You don't even know where they are.
I do.
Really? Uncle, when did you...
Suzuha, will you help?
Okie dokie.
I turned towards Mocha, who shook her head.
I'm not willing to go that far.
I bet.
You can't go alone, it's too dangerous.
No, it might be safer than going with a big group. And I knew that fate wasn't going to let me die for a little while longer.
You're not going to tell the other girls?
It would probably just worry them. Daru, keep working on that file lock, and leave your phone on a call with me.
Okie dokie.
Uncle, here.
Suzuha handed me a semi-automatic pistol.
Look. Protect yourself if you have to.
I hesitated, but decided to take it. It was the first time in my life I'd ever held a gun, and it was a lot heavier than I expected it to be. The lights were still on at the building in Kanda. Even at this hour, the gate was open. That's how colleges were. As expected, we made it inside with no trouble.
Kagari's in here?
Yeah, she should be. If Daru's information from 2036 was right, Stratford's base was here at my university, Tokyo Denki. Several buildings occupied the school's Kanda campus. Building 1, Buildings 5 through 7, and Buildings 11 through 15. Buildings 5, 6, 10, and 15 were scattered throughout the surrounding neighborhood, but the remainder were in their own little isolated area. The only two of those with basements were 11 and 15. And my guess was that Stratford's base was here, in Building 11. It was not only the building with the newest equipment, but it was a big building with 17 floors and a lot of foot traffic going in and out. I didn't know how many people Stratford had been working for them, but at least some of them had to have been out looking for me. Which meant this place would be less well guarded than usual. And I had Suzuha with me too. This was doable. This way. I led Suzuha straight down the stairs. There were 3 elevators in the building, but Suzuha had decided that taking them would be dangerous. They could potentially be trapped. The problem was what lay down below. There were over 20 rooms of varying sizes in the 2-story basement. Which one of them was their base?
Uncle, this way.
You know where to go?
I remembered. I've infiltrated this place once before. When I was here, the place was falling apart and the outside looked totally different, but I'm sure of it.
Suzuha led me down the corridors without hesitation. With her gun in hand and her hips dropped low to the ground to avoid making noise as she ran, she looked just like a cat. She stopped in front of one of the rooms and nodded to me. It seemed no different than any of the others. But there was no nameplate on it. This was supposed to be a large generator room, as I recalled.
I'll save Kagari. You just protect yourself, Uncle.
Right. I took the Glock out from my belt. It was heavy in my hands. Suzuha had taught me how to use it, but I'd never fired it before and wasn't sure I'd be able to. But it would still serve as a bluff.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
After she finished her countdown, Suzuha shut off the doorknob, kicked open the door, and ran into the room. She did it all in one swift movement. I ran in after her and realized immediately that something was wrong. The first thing I noticed was the stench. It was an iron smell strong enough to make you puke. Blood. The floor of the room was covered in blood. There were bodies, too. 4 or 5 of them. Of course, Suzuha hadn't done it. It was already like this when we got here. What's going on? Suzuha was slowly working her way forward. I followed her. Some of the bodies were Japanese and some were American. The room continued on. A large man was lying face down next to a half-opened door. And next to him was...
You're here sooner than I expected, Rintaro.
No way. The voice saying my name was voluptuous and feminine, and its accent was foreign. Dr. Reyes?
I'm glad you're doing well.
Why?
I came to get something I was looking for.
Dr. Reyes spun around quickly and smoothly like a dancer. Kagari was seated behind her. Kagari! What's wrong, Kagari? Can't you hear us? There was some kind of strange mechanical device over her head. No matter how much I called out her name, she didn't move an inch.
Oh dear, she's sleeping so peacefully. It would be rude to wake her up.
Her smile was sharp and cold. It completely lacked the warmth I'd seen when we first met.
Watch out, she's military.
Suzuha already had her gun drawn at Reyes. But Reyes didn't seem concerned in the slightest. Military? Noji had said that, come to think of it. That the group looking for Kagari was with a Western military. And he'd wondered if a normal spy would have taken their own life.
And who might you be? Get back, Kagari. I love that face. I didn't know there was anyone in Japan with a face like that. Why don't you start by giving me your gun? If you don't, Kagari Shina will die, you know. The second she dies, you're dead too. I see, but I'm just one part of a larger organization. Killing me won't change a thing.
Suzuha. Suzuha laid the gun at her feet, frustrated.
Good girl. Now stand there with your hands behind your head. So, Rintaro, I believe I told you what the deal was. Did you bring them? Oh my, you're such a naughty boy. If you didn't bring them, then I can't let you have Kagari Shina.
She'd said Kagari was asleep, but when I looked closer, I saw that her eyelids weren't fully closed. From what little I could see of her eyes, they were empty and devoid of light. What did you do to Kagari?
Unfortunately, nothing yet. I just played the lullaby they used with her. But if you're not going to accept my trade, then maybe I'll just get started.
She softly rubbed Kaguri's cheeks with the barrel of the gun, a look of ecstasy on her face. I've hidden Kursu's laptop and hard drive somewhere special. If you're not going to give me Kaguri, then I won't tell you where. Let Kaguri go first.
Negotiations are pointless, Rintaro. If you're not going to give me what I want, then I'll just do things my way.
It wasn't a threat or a bluff. Reyes was acting like this was an everyday conversation. With all the blood and stench around us, that somehow made it even creepier. Did you do this?
Yes, if they hadn't been so stupid, they might have managed to live a little longer. It's a shame.
Why would you do something like this?
It's simple. They figured out who I really am.
You really are?
Remember what she just said?
You're with the military?
And a scientist as well. DARPA. Not that that means anything to you, I'm sure. DARPA. The Defense Ultimate Research Projects Agency. No way. Dr. Reyes is with them?
I could hear Maho's voice through my Bluetooth microphone. I left my phone connected to Daru so that we could stay in touch if we needed to.
Oh, Green, just give me a little more time.
By time? Now? It would be impossible. But I'd asked Daru for the impossible many times before. Now it was my turn. I couldn't let her hurt Kaguri. Suzuha had lost her weapon. It would be hard to do this by force. I just needed to keep her occupied. Why would someone from the military...
My team originally worked on brainwashing.
Brainwashing? And Kaguri...
Just so we're clear, it wasn't me who did this to her. It was them.
Them? She must have meant the people lying on the floor. I don't know if I believe that. Why would the military want to brainwash people anyway? There was no need to even ask. But I needed to buy time for Daru to finish his hacking.
You know why. We want soldiers who will do exactly as they're told. Our goal was to make the ultimate soldier, who never complains, who never fears death, and who willingly sacrifices himself for his country. There's nothing unusual about it. It's been done all over the world for over a century. But then we realized that we could make the ultimate soldier without going through the hassle of brainwashing. An AI soldier.
An AI soldier? The name alone made it sound like the title of a cheap sci-fi movie. But that also just made it creepier. I see, so you implanted artificial intelligence into the soldier's brain. That will let you mass-produce highly intelligent and highly capable soldiers.
Huh.
And if you can install the memories needed for special skills too, you'll have a whole army of specialists ready for any mission imaginable.
That's right. Rintaro, you're quick on the uptake. And in the future, we'll be able to make soldiers capable of enhanced teamwork via group consciousness too. What do you think? Amazing, isn't it? Can't do that. It's wrong. That's what they all say.
I was worried that Suzuha might jump at her in fury, but she stayed completely calm. Reyes was right next to Kaguri. No matter how fast Suzuha was, without a gun, Kaguri was still in danger. If I knew Suzuha, she was watching the situation carefully and waiting for an opening.
Listen to me, we want stability. Our military is the only thing keeping the world peaceful. If they have to sacrifice themselves to become the soldiers who can make that possible, I'm sure they won't mind too much.
It was selfish reasoning. There was no way I or anyone else could accept it. But... interesting. Dr. Reyes. No! Reyes! You interest me greatly indeed! I saw Suzuha's gaze dart over to me for just a moment. Her eyes seemed to criticize me, but she didn't say anything.
Rintaro?
My name is not Rintaro! My job right now was to keep her busy until Daru broke the lock on the files. Which meant that now was the time to act. To act the part of the biggest fool I could. That was my job. My name is KYOUMA HOUOUIN! I am the man who shall destroy the ruling structure of the world and plunge it into chaos!
What kind of joke is this?
I, the mad scientist of madness, KYOUMA HOUOUIN, admit it. You, Reyes, are moderately mad!
Oh, what?
KYOUMA HOUOUIN, Rintaro Okabe, is the disguise I use to deceive the eyes of the world. This is my true identity. I am the mad scientist, reviving like the phoenix.
What am I hearing? You're screwed up, kid.
For a moment, her mouth had hung open in shock, but she quickly regained her cocky smile. But I couldn't back down now. Reyes, I already know what you've done thus far. You infiltrated Victor Condrey University as a professor to work on your AI soldier project. And while you were there, you found out about Amadeus. Correct?
Yes, that's right. Amadeus was quite the interesting project. But what interested me more...
She stepped on the body next to her as if it were an object, and not a human being.
were the traces I saw of their involvement. And just as I expected, I looked into it and found something incredible. You know what I found, right?
The time machine, yes? Reyes flashed me a dazzling smile and nodded. I see. The time machine, the impossible dream of all mankind. You learned of the paper that described how it would work. And you learned that if you could get it, the world would be yours to command. But you were a fool. Everyone like you thinks the same thing.
A fool?
Yes, a fool. Ruling the world, working for the nation, working for the organization. Those are just the goals of petty men. If you would use the greatest invention of human history for those things, then you're a failure as a scientist.
I'm a soldier before I'm a scientist. I've offered my life to my country. If my country can command the world, that lets us keep every other potential threat in check. And that's what's best for the world and mankind.
Her voice was rising in excitement.
That's why we can't let any other country get it ahead of us. By obtaining this revolutionary theory before anyone else, we can keep the world's power balance the way it is. We can keep the world peaceful. We can't let another country, let alone a civilian corporation, get their hands on it first.
And that's why you killed all these people. I'll say it again. You are a fool!
I see. I do feel bad about what I did to them.
She didn't really sound like she meant it.
The plan was to let them go a while longer and then take the data once they had it all.
Then why kill them?
One of the people I sent in to spy on them screwed up. So I do blame myself for that. But they're at fault too. Dorpa hires civilian scientists. I offered them jobs, but they got greedy and started making demands. Losing talent like that is such a shame.
The corners of her mouth rose a little as she spoke. It didn't seem like she really felt that way at all.
So, Rintaro Okabe, I've got an offer for you. Why not work for Derpa?
What?
You look surprised. Why did you think I was telling you all this? Long villain monologues only exist in your Japanese samurai movies. Don't worry, we don't care about what country you're from. If you want, we can get you a green card.
In other words, you recognize my talent. You recognize the mind of KYOUMA HOUOUIN.
Of course, I wouldn't make this offer to someone without talent. You've certainly got it. And you're Kurosumaki-sei's friend too.
The real reason she was interested in me was probably the latter. It was far too obvious. I might have heard something from Kurosumaki-sei about her time machine theories. That's what you're hoping. And that's why you want me.
We take those who can be useful, and we pay. That's how things work in our world.
Which means that once I'm not useful, I end up like the people on the ground over there.
That depends on how hard you work and what you decide to do.
Reyes laughed and went around behind Kagari. She seemed to be moving casually, but since Suzuha didn't pounce, she probably hadn't left any openings. Are you done yet? I was hitting my limit for buying time.
Well, take your time and think about it.
You have quite the high taste eye, if you've noticed my talent.
I taste I?
High quality taste and a discerning eye. You're American and you don't even know that. But that's fine. I take back what I said about your failures as a scientist. Since after all, you recognize my talent.
I see. Can you accept my offer?
I refuse!
What?
Because I am KYOUMA HOUOUIN! A mad scientist must always be a solitary creature. He must never belong to anyone, or anything, at any time. That is his destiny. At first, Rhea seemed surprised, but then she exhaled a long sigh.
Well, feel free to take your time. Think it over until I'm done with her. What are you going to do to Kagari?
Suzuha still had her hands behind her head, but if looks could kill, Reyes would be dead already.
You know what I'm doing. I'm overriding her memories with Karasumakise's.
Then in the other world line, maybe Dorpa did that, and not Stratfor. And that wasn't all. It was the woman in the motorcycle suit who'd attacked the lab.
Don't make that face. I've used this technique on animals and a number of humans.
Reyes rubbed Kagari's cheeks lovingly.
The system had a critical flaw until now, anyway. But this time it's fixed, and she's highly compatible. I'm sure it will work fine.
Every single word she spoke. And she spoke so slowly. It felt like it was drawing me in.
Kursu's memories, her mind will be recreated inside this girl. And then we won't have to worry about any black boxes locking away parts of her memories. She'll do whatever we tell her, and I'm sure she'll tell us all about the time machine. We won't need Kursu's laptop or her hard drive. As long as we have her, we'll be fine.
Reyes brought her crimson lips next to Kagari.
Tell me, Kagari, you want to be Kursu, right?
No, Kagari! Don't listen to her! But Kagari didn't move at all.
Her genius mind will be yours. You can revolutionize the world. Won't that be wonderful? Well?
Kagari's lips moved a little.
Yes. Good girl.
Kagari!
Rintaro, this was your choice too, you know. If you'd simply done as I asked, things might have turned out differently. And besides, you want to see Kursu, don't you? A person is nothing but their memories. It's their memories who make them who they are. When Kagari has Kursu's memories, she'll become Kursu. And you'll like that, won't you? I'm sure Kursu will too.
Shut up! I was surprised at how loud my voice was. Kursu would be happy? Hell no! Even if you do replace Kagari's memories with Kursu's, she won't be Kursu! And she would never be happy to see her memories used like that. Don't you dare insult her! Don't you dare insult Kurasumakise!
I see. That's a shame. But either way, the result doesn't change. You can just stand there and watch her mind be filled with the memories of the one you love.
Rhea started to tap commands at the computer next to her. Suzuha was still calm. He wasn't attacking Reyes because she was waiting for Daru's word. Daru, are we done yet?
Hey, Ocarine. I'm so close.
Damn it!
Uncle,
Suzuha whispered to me.
we may have to give up on Kagari. Once I move, get down.
Knowing Suzuha, she wouldn't hesitate.
Okay, all ready to go.
I do. I give up on her. I couldn't do that. Did I? But either way, Kagari was doomed.
All right then. Sayonara, Kagari.
Reyes' thin fingers stretched out. Suzuha moved. He closed the gap between her and Reyes in an instant. A gunshot rang out. Suzuha's body shot back and fell to the floor. Suzuha!
I thought you'd do that. Too bad, huh?
Reyes had expected that. Then there was nothing I could do. Don't! Before I could stop her, Reyes hit the keyboard. What?
What's going on? Why isn't it working? Can't be. This stupid thing. God damn it! Shit!
Reyes pounded the keyboard again and again, swearing. Is there a problem with the system?
Ocarine.
Kaguri! There was a small light in Kaguri's empty eyes.
Bullshit!
With Reyes distracted, this was my chance. Kaguri, come with me!
Ocarine.
Kaguri ripped the device off of her head, stood up, and managed to run a few steps forward before she fell over. Kaguri! I ran over and grabbed her. Reyes quickly brought her gun to bear. Another gunshot. I thought I'd been shot, but I hadn't. The gun knocked out of Reyes' hand was spinning on the floor.
Don't take another step.
Suzuha slowly stood up. He was holding the gun that she just placed on the ground. Suzuha, you're okay?
I guess so.
Her shoulders were bloody, but it wasn't a fatal wound. He was lucky to survive a gunshot wound at that range.
The tables have turned. You got me. I didn't expect to lose to a kid like you.
Reyes shrugged her shoulders in surrender.
But this isn't over yet, you know. I said don't move.
Reyes ignored her and picked up the strange headset that Kaguri had been wearing. Suzuha gripped her gun more tightly.
Just so we're all on the same page, I'm carrying a small bomb with me. I just bite down a little on my back teeth and it explodes. At this rate, I'm sure you three would be caught up in it. Are you going to kill yourself? I've been trying to choose death rather than hand information over to the enemy, sadly.
You're bluffing.
If you think so, then shoot.
Suzuha moved to pull the trigger. Wait, Suzuha! Just believe in Daru for now. Reyes glanced at Suzuha, and then slowly put the headset down over her own head. What are you trying to do?
You didn't want to use her either, did you, Amadeus? But you don't mind if I use someone else.
No way.
I told you, it won't end here.
There was madness in her eyes.
That's right, it was always so easy. There was never any need to use anyone else. I could have just done this myself. Now I will have Kursu's Makise's memories. I will have the time machine theory. And I'll be the one to revolutionize the world.
No. Don't use Kursu's memories for that.
Yes, got it.
Daru?
No, it will rule time itself.
Daru, get rid of that file now!
Hold on, I'm looking for it now.
Grace's fingers went for the keyboard.
Don't! It's okay, I'll make good use of the memories of the girl you love.
I found it, I've got it, Ocarine.
Delete it, Daru, now! Set Kursu free!
Okie dokie.
Come into me, Kurisu.
Grace's fingers touched the keyboard. Silence. Nothing happened. There was no light or loud noise like the phone wave. Of course there wasn't. It was all going on inside her head.
What happened?
Reyes. She was in the exact same position as when she touched the keyboard, completely unmoving. Did the memories download? I steeled myself to take a closer look. And Reyes collapsed to her knees. The light hit her face, and I could finally see her expression. There was nothing there. No light, no darkness. Nothing. Just hollow emptiness in her eyes. That expression of joy she'd had when she touched the keyboard was frozen onto her cheeks.
Ocarine, she...
Daru was faster, by just an instant. The folder had been empty just before she downloaded the memories into her own mind. She'd filled her head with emptiness, and now nothing was left. Not the memories she'd had before. Not her own history. Not her own desires. There was just an empty shell. There was just an empty shell kneeling on the ground as if praying to God.
Ocarine?
Daru. Did it. It's all over. Everything. I could hear Daru and Maho cheering from the earphone.
Let's go, Uncle. It's not a good idea to stay here.
You're right. Kaguri, can you walk?
Yeah.
The only things left were dead bodies and a living corpse. Amadeus, the girl on the other side of the machine, was gone. She was gone from this world, along with the memories of the person I loved. I whispered softly to a girl who was no longer there. I'll see you again, Kurisu. And I think that this is a pretty good place to cut it. My God, that was intense. Oh, I love this. I love this. It's so good. But yeah, I don't have anything to say about that aside from I love it to bits. But for now, I think this is a pretty good place to cut it. Thank you all so much for following my playthrough of Steins Gate Zero. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.